enthusiasts, how are you doing? Welcome back. I hope you're all well and I hope you're having a great day. So in today's video, I really mess up. So stay tuned for that. But before we get into that, let's talk about some good stuff. So I've got my John Cooper signed Motor-Liter steering wheel here. These are, I'll say they're quite rare. There's quite a few of them about, but they are very expensive. Actually, when I went to Bingley Hall Mini Fair last week, there was one that was in not as good a condition as this, I would say, for sale for 400 quid, second hand. So that gives you the idea of the sort of money they go for. Mine is pretty good condition. The leather is it just doesn't look that fresh. It's a little bit worn out and it's probably, I don't know, 25, 30 years old. So I'm going to send it off to a guy called Elliot, and I'll talk about that in a future video. I'm going to have it new leather put on it, so it'll be like brand new. I just want your opinion. So at the moment it's got black stitching on it. I'm thinking of going for red stitching on the inside. Obviously it's got the Cooper Laurel, which has got a red outside. I'm thinking about going for red stitching. I've seen some wheels that have got the red stitching on there and they look pretty good. So let me know what you think. That's going to be in a future video. We're going to get that sent off, and then that is going to be really, really nice. It'll really set off the interior of the car. So I've been hunting around on eBay for bits, picked up a bargain this week. So I want to put the standard stereo back in it, which it would have had when it was brand new. So that is this Philips, I can't remember what it is. It's an R330 or something like that. I do remember looking it up at the time. Can't see anything on it. If you need to know, I'll look it up. But that's the original Philips stereo that would have come with the car, and it would have been mounted under the lower dash rail. So rather than just buy a generic one, I looked around actually, and there was some original genuine Rover ones. So this is the proper one for that radio and for a Mini of this era. And as you can see, when I insert the stereo in there, it actually fits in there and clips in perfectly. It is a little bit tired looking, a little bit worn out. So I'll either clean that up with some plastic dressing, or maybe I might try the heat gun on it, try a little bit of heat on it to warm it up a bit, because it's not entirely black anymore. But obviously we'll fit that. It's a very, very simple stereo to wire up this. I mentioned in the previous video that the new loom on it actually has some additional wiring for a stereo there that's obviously unused. And it's got a positive, negative and ignition feed. This stereo is literally just positive and negative. There's no radio codes or stored stations or anything on this. It's twiddle the dial and find the station. So there's literally only a positive, negative on the back and the two speaker wires. Now I may do what I've done with the R660 stereos on the later MPIs and see if I can convert this to run Bluetooth. That's a really good conversion. You basically just insert a tape. I then disconnect the tape mechanism, put a Bluetooth module in between, and then to make it work on Bluetooth, you just put a dummy tape in, and you can then run the stereo off your phone. We'll talk about this box later. That's part of my mess up, so stay tuned for that. And the only other thing I was going to mention, so I showed you my Maniflow exhaust, which I picked up from Bingley Hall Mini Fair. Yeah, a few good comments on that. Maniflow makes very good exhaust, but I noticed already, just sitting up in the loft in here, it's starting to go rusty. So I'm actually going to ceramic coat this, and I'm going to do it myself. Now, there'll be a video coming up probably next week on Mark doing this on the Cooper S. So Mark bought the kit to do ceramic coating. He's got more than he needed, so very, very kind of Mark. He's a very genuine, kind guy. He's given me some of the coating to do myself. Obviously, I'm not going to use all of it, but I think he bought like 1 litre, and literally it takes 1/4 of a litre to do an exhaust manifold. So we're going to get that ceramic coated, so that'll look absolutely brilliant. It'll give it a bit of protection and stop it going rusty. So I think that's it. Like I say, watch this video through because I do make a mess up in the end. There's some good, interesting stuff in here. Hope you enjoyed today's video and catch you again soon. Cheers. I know I don't film everything I do, but I thought I'd just cut in on this quickly. So these are these calipers that were on the car, the 4 pots. What I've actually done with these is I've completely stripped them down. All the pistons look pretty good. There's no corrosion or anything on them. This is literally just going to be a clean up and put back together. And yeah, I've probably saved, well, 300-400 quid there. They're not cheap, those 4-pot calipers. They are very light actually. So yeah, I'm going to clean that up. I will check all the seals in there, but I think they're okay. They certainly weren't leaking before. And hopefully then it's just a case of putting it back together. Right, a little bit more detail as we go. Again, I don't film everything, I just get on and do some stuff. So this is the new second-hand instrument pod that I bought. I think I paid 100 quid for it on Facebook Marketplace. But like I say, the surrounding it was grey rather than black. Or is it grey? Yes, grey. So I got my black surround from Bingley Hall Mini Fair. The only reason I'm actually replacing it is when they fit the walnut dash, and I've done this before myself, you have to cut these bits off the indicators to get this to mount flush up on the dash. So of course when you come to restoring it back to original again, obviously these bits are missing. So that's really the only reason I'm replacing it. Now, being a bit OCD while I'm doing it, so I'm cleaning up all the lenses, and I'm actually, so this Speedo I bought has only done 36,000 miles. Look at that, it's a low mileage car. Obviously the Racing Green has done 80,000. I'm actually swapping the Speedos over so it'll have the original Speedo in it. Even though it shows 80,000 miles, I don't want on the MOT history to see a discrepancy in the mileage. Obviously the car will be fully restored and I'll have that all documented, but it will still have its original Speedo in it. So really, I'm spending all this money just to get these 3 prongs here. But it is what it is. Obviously giving all the instruments a good clean as we go. So I'll swap that Speedo head over. I've also just taken all the bracketry off. That's all been cleaned up and given a coat of paint as well as a heater and throttle pedal and things like that, ready to go back in. So yeah, be back in a moment when that's reassembled back in the dashboard. And there we go, all reassembled now, all cleaned up. It looks much better in black. That's my opinion anyway. There's the old one. I'll clean that up as well. To be honest, it's only the bits for the indicators there. I actually reckon I can probably put a little bit of hose inside those holes and close up the gap and make this one good as well. So I might actually get my money back, mightn't I? Clean that up, fix those bits for the indicator. I only paid 100 quid for that one with the bracket. Obviously I don't have a spare bracket. I reckon I can probably sell that and get a bit of money back. Which I've got lots and lots of bits on the car potentially that I need to sort of clean and tidy and sell up. So yeah, that's all done now. Got to refit that bracket and we can get, I'm looking forward to that, getting the Speedo back in the car. That's kind of give it its heart back again. Right then, bit of a progress update because I've just cracking on with things really. Probably another couple of hours in, so I've like fitted the handbrake back on, ashtrays back riveted in, the heater is all sort of refreshed. I resealed the foam around the matrix in there, and I've given it a coat of paint as well just to keep it all nice. The dash pod is in. So yeah, instrument pod. It looks like it's way too far forward, but I think it's because the top dash rail is not in yet, so I will fit the top dash rail soon. I've got the seat rails in, throttle pedal in, but I bought a new throttle pedal, but I actually might revert to the old one, to be honest, because I cleaned up. That was the, so it's got like the small, it's like a Mark 1 pedal, and it's been cut down to fit that throttle pedal, and it was all manky and horrible looking because it was in this box that filled up with water, but I just cleaned it up, and it's come up quite nicely, so I might use that. So yeah, that's all good in there. And under the bonnet, it's all coming along nicely as well. All that lovely paintwork I've done behind the back of the dash, obviously, like I knew that wouldn't be visible once I put the bulkhead insulation in. It is a real pain to fit that bulkhead insulation. It's much easier when everything's out like this. After, when everything's in, all the pipes and that, it's just a flipping nightmare. So now is the time to replace it. Obviously got a new fuse box. I need to fit the clutch slave, but it's 9:30 at night, so I'll do that another day when I'm refreshed, because that clevis pin, split pin, is a pain to get in. And aside from that, it's pretty much, you know, it's all coming together really nicely. My biggest problem at the moment is I am probably going to run out of things to do very soon. Yeah, another Saturday in here, maybe a couple of Saturdays, not even, well, yeah, I'm going to run out of things to do. There are still stuff, that brackets and that need painting, and there's lots of brackets and that for the engine, but obviously I don't have the engine back. It's still with Paul Jeffries, so fingers crossed that should be coming back soon, and then we can get the engine in, and then really it's going to be stripping it, getting it ready for paint. But yeah, probably a little bit earlier in the year than I was expecting for paint, but I reckon we'll be okay. It's just as long as it doesn't turn freezing cold again. We'll see. Right, so we've got our calipers stripped back down again, all cleaned up, ready for paint, and we're going to use some of this Technique Thunder Grey brake caliper paint. It's heat resistant, long lasting, rapid drying, no primer required. Not quite sure what the colour will be like yet. Thunder Grey sounds interesting. Be back in a moment once they're painted. Epoxy nozzle broken, so it's just spraying everywhere. Right, so a bit of cleaning up, and those brake calipers look absolutely fantastic. Shame about that spray can though, it made a right mess, but the finish come out all right on them. So we've got new pads in there, new discs. We'll get them assembled on the dry flanges now, and get them fitted to the car there. I'm glad I didn't buy new ones actually. Well, I'm saying that now. Hopefully those calipers are okay, but the seals and everything seemed fine in them. Pistons look fine, so, but you never quite know when you take something apart and put it back together again. So let's get them on the car, see what they look like. Oh no, I've proper messed up. Let me show you. So I'm just fitting up everything up on this side. It's all going together nicely. I had to paint that top shock mount and get that ready, but that's in, the shock's in. I've gone to try and fit the caliper on, and it won't line up. Bolt holes won't line up. And then it occurred to me. So a question before we go actually, I was searching online which way round to put the discs, because you can read 10 articles and get 10 different opinions on which direction the grooves should go. I seem to sort of go with the thought that it doesn't really matter too much. If they're vented discs, then it can matter, because the vents inside can be angled, so you've got to get them the right way around. But just the grooved disc, solid discs, I don't think it matters too much. Like I say, if you read 10 articles, you get 10 different answers. So anyway, why have I messed up? Well, the problem is I didn't check first. So this is the old disc off the car. That's the new discs I've ordered. And I just assumed, so the new discs I've ordered are 8.4 inch. And the discs that come off are 7.9s. So those calipers are not going to fit with those discs. I've spent a couple of hours overhauling these. New bleed nipples, new pads, new discs, stripped apart, cleaned up, painted, built back up. So what do, guys? Do I order a set of 7, the cheapest option is probably order a set of 7.9 discs, grooved like those ones, cross drilled and grooved. Right, so there's the wheel on. The wheels look fantastic. I really do like those wheels. They're not just mini light wheels, they are Mistral mod wheels, an original John Cooper accessory. They're not just the Rover wheels painted white. And these are powder coated. I had them refurbished and powder coated down near where I live. One thing I will say is you can barely see the caliper behind there. Obviously the 8.4 caliper will be slightly bigger. But yeah, you can barely see the disc and caliper. So yeah, I don't know what to do. Get down in the comments and let me know. I'm really I'm disappointed in myself that I didn't realise that the discs I took off were 7.9s. So yeah, not quite sure what I'm going to do. Get down in the comments, let me know what you think. Right then, 2 weeks later. So I did learn a bit as we went on with those discs actually. So 7.9 inch discs were never a standard size. They're basically 8.4 inch discs that are machined down, and they'll be the biggest discs you can get under 10 inch wheels. So I had to order some 7.9 inch discs. They're not easy to get because, as I say, they're not a standard size. I ordered from Mini Sport because, in fact, Mini Sport were one of the only places that listed them, but they were out of stock, and I suspect they're out of stock because they're never really in stock. They're probably machined to order. So it actually took me a couple of weeks to get these discs. I might be wrong, maybe they're not machined down 8.4, so let's have a look anyway. I think I've said before, I don't usually use Mini Sport. I buy stuff off them at the shows and that sort of thing because they do have pretty good trade at the shows. But what I find with them, a lot of times you order stuff and if it's not in stock, or a lot of times it seems to be not in stock, you just end up waiting around for weeks to get stuff. Whereas Mini Spares, if part of the order is out of stock, they will ship what they've got, and you'll obviously get the rest a little bit later. Straight off the bat, that's a worry, because I ordered some brake pins and some other stuff as well. I've only got the brake discs. Let's have a look. Maybe they didn't put in a spin box. Yes, I have. So I've got a nice Mini Sport sticker as well, so thanks Mini Sport. I ordered, well, basically I just ordered some brake pins which go through the calipers, and they are our brake discs. So they're not machined down 8.4s. They look like they're made for the purpose. The discs that were on there, so the discs I messed up on, in fact I'll probably grab them off in a moment, do a quick comparison, were grooved and drilled, whereas these are just grooved don't think it makes a great deal of difference, to be honest. We'll look at the size comparison, but yeah, let's get these discs on and get those brakes fitted once and for all. Right, so there are brake discs. They look very, very similar. Like I say, these are obviously grilled and grooved. Drilled and grooved. These are obviously just grooved. You can actually see it looks like a bit of size difference there. If I put them sort of back to back, you'll get some idea. So yeah, you're probably losing, well, it'll be 8.4 inch to 7.9. So yeah, half an inch difference. I don't think it makes a huge difference to the braking, but obviously the bigger the brake rotor, the brake disc, the better really, which is why you see on modern performance cars, the discs just get bigger, 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 bigger and bigger. You've just got more surface area to work with. But these would be a nice little add-on. Let me just grab the caliper quickly. And then ta-da, there's our caliper on the disc as well. So the actual pads, the brake pads, are the same size pads, whether you're fitting 8.4 inch discs or 7.9. They are the old style Metro brake pads. They're not mini brake pads. They're slightly bigger. There's a couple of tips I would say when you're fitting these. Always torque up the drive flange, because I've seen these crack before and warp. Always make sure the mating surfaces are spotless, absolutely spotless. And then when you fit the bolts to the drive flange, so these bolts here, you must torque them up. You will get brake judder and potentially crack the disc if you don't, and always Loctite them as well, thread lock. So let's get these on the car and let's sort this out. Not a complete loss. I haven't really lost any money because I've still got these discs. These discs will go away, and next time I have PL in for a bit of a service, I'll probably upgrade and maybe get some EBC green stuff pads and fit these discs on PL. So not a complete loss. Oh no, I'm still having problems. I still can't get the bolt holes to line up. But I think the problem is now with the pad. So if you look where that bolt hole is, and the bottom corner of that pad is touching the hub. So I think I'm just going to have to grind away that bottom corner. I think when the pads are a bit worn out, I don't think it'll interfere, because it will move this way a bit, and I can jiggle it around, but I don't want to be honest. So I want to take the pads out. I'm just going to, it's literally like probably a couple of millimeters off the corner of that pad there. I'll probably do both pads while I'm at it, and then we'll see if it fits. Yeah, slightly frustrating. So that's before and after. So I've rounded off these edges there. It really doesn't make a great deal of difference if I lay him back to back. You can just see it's just chopping off that corner basically. Right, so that's what I've done. I've just radiused the edge of those pads there, and obviously, as you can see, they shouldn't interfere with the bolt holes now. Right, that was a fight right to the end. So I'm pleased with them. They look great. I just hope to God those calipers don't leak or anything like that. They shouldn't do. They didn't leak before. I've refurbed them. The pistons look fine. But yeah, what a pain. Even right up to the end there, I bolted the calipers on and the disc wouldn't turn. The disc wouldn't turn because I remember when I took them apart, there was an additional spacer or washer between the caliper and the hub, between where the bolt goes. So that's a right pain to get those washers in, but it had them originally, so they must have needed a bit of spacing out. So yeah, bit of a pain, but probably worth it in the end. They're a nice set of brakes on there now. We've got a nice setup on the front here. You know me, guys and girls. I usually prefer fitting standard original equipment. If you want something to fit right first time, standard original equipment, you don't generally have a problem. It's when you're buying cheap aftermarket parts or when you're buying modified parts, be prepared to have a bit of a faff around. So I think that's it for today's video. Thanks once again for tuning back in, watching the videos. If you did enjoy it, remember to give it a thumbs up. If you want to drop me a comment, I read all the comments. And if you're not a subscriber, please do consider subscribing. Things are moving along at a pace now. I'm running out of things to do, I genuinely am. It's mid-February, probably another day on the car. I literally won't have anything else to do, so I'll probably then start doing the bodywork. That's probably going to take weeks, if not months, to get done. And it's very, very boring. So thanks for tuning back in. I'll catch you again on the next one. Cheers.